What I looked at was the ministry of the Catholic Church in Australia. Now, one of the things that I found interesting is what is happening in Catholic schools, and I think this does address your question, Matthew. And that is, what is happening is we are not producing religious people. We are not, by religious I mean observant Catholics. But what we are producing are young people, and I think the evidence for this is there, young people who have what Andrew Greeley has described as a Catholic small c imagination. And by that he means that they have a sense of community, they have a sense they belong, they are not just single individuals. So they do have a sense of community. They have one of the most interesting things, and that I found this confirmed on a number of occasions, that a lot of kids coming out, not just of Catholic schools, but of Christian schools generally, have a profound sense of the environment because they have a sense of the sacramental nature of the world, of nature itself, that it symbolises something deeper than themselves. They have a really strong sense of social justice. Now, and I think if that's what we are producing in reasonable numbers, of course not everybody's like that, but you know, none of us have all, it's not monochrome. So, but I do think that we are producing, and that's not to say that state schools are not doing that. I'm not for one moment suggesting that. I'm just suggesting that I'm talking about what I've looked at. And so more conservative Catholics say, oh, it's a tragedy, you know, because they're not all running off to Mass on Sunday. I mean, that's absolutely true, because the Catholic practice rate at the present moment is 9% of Catholics who sign up.
Dropping.
Sorry, and dropping, correct, and dropping. For those who sign up on the what you call it, the census. But what I think we are producing is people with that engagement.
Exactly.
And I think that that's the key. If we can engage young people, if we can get them to participate in and be part of the community, and not expecting that the community owes them a living, or that that they have, you know, it's just here for me on the take. I mean, it's in some ways I'm saying this: the spirituality, the imagination, the understanding of some grasp of transcendence. I think they're the kind of things that younger people. But I mean, we're being televised at the present moment by Brian Coyne, and one of the things that Brian keeps saying on Catholica is that much of the doctrinal baggage apparatus of Christianity generally, probably, not just Catholicism, really needs rethinking from the bottom up. And once you adopt a kind of an environmental or a kind of a green cosmology, and you have a different approach to the natural world, well then that requires rethinking. Yeah, that's right. It requires an enormous amount of rethinking. About 18 months ago I was in Melbourne at Spirituality in the Pub. It was in the Pump House Hotel, which is just across the road really from the old exhibition building in Melbourne, and there were a couple of hundred people there because it was the university parish. So I announced to them that the Catholic Church now officially approves the use of contraception. And there was this kind of stunned silence, you know, how was this not on the 7 o'clock news, and so on and so forth. I pointed out to them that the laity had already decided that a doctrine that is not accepted, is not received, is not a doctrine. It is, and this was something that they very much debated at the First Vatican Council in 1870. Before I don't want to say too much tonight, because authors, I was at the launch of 2 poetry books just last week, and I was gobsmacked at their brevity, and I was gobsmacked at the beauty of their language. and I decided that non-fiction authors drag on and on and on, you know, so I won't tonight.